What in the world does a director do? I'm glad you asked. I'm here to break it all down. What I do as a director, what other directors do, and just help you and guide you in the right direction. Especially if you want to become a director like myself or anyone else. This is the video that's just going to get you the information you need. We're going to get there real quick and answer any questions that you may have. Let's get into it. You see at the Academy Awards, they go up there, they get these and thank you and thank you and thank you, right? But what do they actually do? I like to dumb down the definition of a director, right? And mind you, there's some actual like logistical things that they do, and we'll get into that. But the quickest way to describe what a director does on set is just by describing them as the quarterback. The quarterback of the film, right? The director is the Tom Brady of the film. Now, so would that make the producer Bill Belichick? Yeah, for the most part, like the producer's probably Bill Belichick or the owner of the team, right? And they're gathering and they're putting all the people in place. That's a lot of times what a producer does, right? But I would say the director is Tom Brady. They're running the plays, and their job is to execute those plays and make sure we win the game. And the game is this film, this boat that just keeps moving and just the wheels are turning. And so if you understand that, you understand kind of a hierarchy of where a director fits on set. Literally, whether they're on set, pre-production, post-production, all of that, their job is to be the quarterback. Now, in certain modes, though, like there's certain parts where, let's say if we're in post, the editor might be taking more of a upfront role than the director, but the director's still just here guiding them through to make sure that film turns out the way that the director wants it. Now, mind you, a director on a movie is a lot different than a director in TV. And so if you want me to break down what a television director does, comment in the comments below, or just say, what does a television director do? Or comment television director. I got to give you some context, right? So on various budget sizes, directors do various things, right? So me, I'm indie feature a lot of times, right? So I'm usually having on like 4 different hats, sometimes 5. If we have a super small crew, that could be 10 hats. And then the larger the budget goes, right, the less hats that I have to wear. So I'll give you an example. I did a video of how I directed a film in 3 days while pregnant, which is absolutely insane. So check out that video on the channel and watch it. But on that set, I was doing a bunch of stuff. So I was director, right? I was producer. I was co-writer. I did wardrobe, casting, directing, what else? Location booking, like you name it, pretty much I did it. So I'm very comfortable wearing all those different hats. That's a lot for people. If we're going to be on like $100 million like budget set, right? So let's say like Steven Spielberg, and mind you, I'm not in Steven Spielberg's everyday life, right? But from my knowledge, Steven Spielberg's job is pretty much to direct. Right? And so he's got this vision in his head. The script, half the time he's not writing, but maybe he wrote the script. He gets the script, and his job is to bring that script to the big screen. So what happens? Like, how do we get from this script to what it is that we see in the movie theaters, right? So let's get into that process. All right, so let's talk about pre-production. It sounds like just what it is. Pre-production means prior to filming the movie. What all happens before that, right? Well, you got script development, you got casting, you got locations, you got crew members, you got lighting concepts. If you're going to do CGI, preparing for that, green screens, you name it, right? Bigger the budget, the more that list is. Smaller the budget, the more the list is still probably just as long, but the director's doing a lot of that, right? Well, Let's just talk about the basic script development. So how do you develop a script? Well, there's the writing portion of it, right? So let's say they're given a certain amount of budget. The director might go with collaborate with the writer and be like, okay, we're going to have to chop this scene out, this scene, and this scene, because it's not going to fit in the scope of things. Or we need to chop the scene out because we have to make an 1.5-hour movie and that's all we have. So let's just go ahead and throw this out. We're going to keep these meat and bones, right? The director might be doing that. The director might have their own ideas too that they're tossing into script. Like, I think the character should wear this and go do this on this day, right? So that's the development portion of it, right? Then it's just like, okay, so now how do we get these words to paint a picture? So oftentimes what that looks like is a shot list, right? You have your traditional shot list, which I can show you an example of what a shot list looks like, a traditional one. And then you have like your storyboard, right? Some people call that a shot list too, but your storyboard is more of like it drawn out. So you're actually seeing the shots. Like, so what is a shot? Right? If we're going to break down what a shot is, it's just like a composition of how you're filming a particular portion of the scene. If you don't understand shots and it's just blowing over your head, I suggest you turn on your favorite movie and watch it with the sound off. When you watch it with the sound off, you'll see it jump from shot to shot to shot. A lot of times, like the traditional path is starting with an establishing shot. That just shows where we're at, or a wide, right? And then from there, we push in. We might go to a 2-shot if 2 people are talking, right? We might go to a dirty. What a dirty is one person's in the frame, but let's say we're seeing the back of their head and then another person's here and we're seeing the front of their face. So we're focused on the front of the face. Then we do the reverse, right? Then we might go single. Single is one person by itself, right? Maybe it's that person's close-up, whatever, right? And then vice versa. Then we might need pickup shots. Pickup shots are shots of just like action. Oftentimes they're shot with MOS, and maybe somebody's like kissing, so we'll get the lips, or somebody's shaking hands, so you'll see a shot of them, just the hands of the shot, right? It helps tell the story. That's the director's job. If this is a personal opinion of mine, I feel like if you don't make your own shot list, you're not really directing. Somebody else did it for you. People are going to be mad at that. It is what it is. I stand by it. That is a huge portion of directing, is a shot list. It's almost like somebody handing you the test, or the answers to the test, and then you're like, okay, here's the answers to the test, and the only thing you have to do is just fill it out. That's weird, right? Who does that? No, you need your own answers to the test. Shot lists, major important part. Storyboarding, some people do it, some people don't. Obviously, you're on like $100 million set, you're probably storyboarding like your concepts and your ideas, and that's like, yeah, it's because you have whole crews and stuff. Another portion of the director's job is getting the crew together, choosing the DP that you want to work with. What is a DP? Well, if you want to know what a DP does, comment in the comment sections below. DP. Short version, DP or cinematographer, they handle the lighting. A lot of times they're choosing the camera that they want to shoot with and the lens that they want to shoot with. And that's a collaboration between the director too. Choosing who's over the gaffing crew, who's over the sound crew, because all this stuff makes up the gumbo of like how the film is actually going to turn out. And then there's the casting. Big films have casting directors, right? Small films have me. I'm just kidding. That's a good one. That's a good one, right? Nah, seriously though, even small films have casting directors too, but the director is like, I don't know, I don't see this person being such and such. They'll use a casting director. Oftentimes, see, if you're working on a large film, like the director's in the process, but the studio is really the one who's signing off on it. You're on a smaller film, the director for sure has to believe like, okay, yeah, I can see this performance coming to life, like all that stuff. So that's a lot of the pre-production portion of what a director does. The next major key of what a director does is directing actors. That's what you're getting paid to do. It is your job to bring the best performance out of Viola Davis, who doesn't need a whole lot of direction, but and Denzel, and Tom Hanks, and Kerry Washington, and all these amazing people on set. I can't wait till the day I get to work with one of them. Oh, amazing. It'll happen. Remember, I manifested it here. But it's your job to bring that performance out. And right, so that's understanding the language. If you want to become a good director, I tell people this all the time. Take an acting class. You're like, what? No, seriously. take an acting class. Once you understand the language of what acting is, you're better able to communicate. I've been a scene study 1.0 and 2.0. I went to Richard Lawson Studios in Los Angeles, North Hollywood. Shout out to them. Did their PDP class too, but we're not talking about that, right? And while I was doing that, I realized that I didn't really care about acting. Not that I didn't care about it, but I wasn't passionate about that. I was actually more passionate about directing. But because I actually can act and I have the technique of acting, when it's time for me to communicate with actors on set or in rehearsal, I'm like able to get there really fast. They're able to pick up my notes and be tapped in. If you don't have the language, right, of what an actor does, it's hard for you to get that performance out of them. So that's a lot of the job. Oftentimes when I'm on small budgets, we're limited for time. So we do a lot of Zoom rehearsals prior to. We answer these questions. We build the backstories of these characters, and we help the actors get to these performances. When I'm on set, I am very much the quarterback. I have a rule: 3 takes or less. That's my rule. That's a personal rule. Everybody doesn't have that, right? We should be, because we chose it in rehearsal. Mind you, that third take could be us trying something new, and that's fine. But take 1, take 2, take 1 really is usually what it is. But take 2, it's like, all right, something happened. We messed up somehow. Take 3 is we're playing. If we have time, we're playing on the third take. And usually I don't go past 3 takes. It's very rare. I don't even think that's happened. It's very rare that I've gone past 3 takes. If it happens, it's because something happened with the focus, the gaffer, the sound, something like that happened, that part. So I'm coaching in, I feel like my biggest thing on set these days, because I'm working on small budget, time management. Time management of everybody, actors, producers, whatever. Knowing what you want and seeing what you want, being decisive, that's how you shoot a film in 3 days. Check out the video. Shameless plug. Knowing what you want from start. Knowing what you're trying to get from start. Most directors don't even be knowing what they want. That's why you need 5 and 10 takes. Because the performance didn't change. I'm keeping it a buck. It didn't change in 5 and 10 takes. It isn't. If anything, I feel like that's like actually mentally, like we're talking about, especially emotional performance, you're like doing a disservice to the actor. This is all opinion, by the way. This is opinion. You can take it or leave it. You're doing a disservice to the actor, and you're using them like a puppet just to perform over and over and over again, because they're giving you the same thing unless you have a note that drastically changes what they're giving you. Other portion of the job of directors: collaborate with the crew. This is pre-production, post-production, production, all of that, right? And so with your DP, is just making sure you have the lighting concepts that you want, finding the right locations. Obviously, larger set, more difficult, or more options that you have, right? When we're on indie sets and we're filming natural light, we're pushing against time, like all of that. So it's very, very important that me and my DP are in tune, because I'm the quarterback of everybody. And on my sets, the DP is the quarterback of the camera, lighting, that crew, right? They're their quarterback. He or she takes direction from me, and they take direction from him, so that I'm not telling them like juxtaposing things, right? That part. And even sound is kind of on that, right? But sometimes I might have a note for sound. So it's very important that it is a collaborative process. I always welcome ideas, right? Especially when we have time for them. When we don't have time, sometimes I have to push and be like, no, we're going to go with this. But if we have time, bring it to me. And it goes up the ropes. Like the gaffer may be like, hey, why don't we do it like this, blah, blah, blah. And he told the DP, and the DP told me. I'm like, oh, okay, sure. But if you're standing right next to me, of course, say it to me. I'm not one of those people, like that part. So I think that's a huge portion of what the director does, is making sure that, like I said, this boat sails through to the finish line. Then it's post-production, because you did it what you were supposed to do on set. We made our day, because I've always made the day. Make the day means you got all the shots on the list. You got everything you needed in the day. If the day gets blown, it's not good. Not good at all. Money gets thrown out, and it's a freaking problem. Like that part. Make the freaking day. I know it sounds like I'm stressing over there, but that's a really big deal. Make the freaking day. Post-production, right? I edit my films. I do the rough cut for all of my films. This is abnormal, mind you, when I'm telling you. For somebody to do all these different roles is highly abnormal. Most directors are not editing. Major key, though, if you want to be a director and you want to cut your budget down and you want to make yourself dang near irreplaceable, learn how to edit your own freaking films. That part. You control the edit, you control the outcome. Because it's one thing to shoot 10 different takes. It's another thing to choose the takes that's going to make the film. That part. And so I do that on my films. Most people are not. So some directors are hands-on when it comes to editing. Some directors are hands-off, meaning they hand the film off. They trust the editor. Then the editor puts the film together. So in a sense, the editor is kind of directing. But that's an opinion. All right. What I will say is this. If you are one of those people who's not interested in editing and all of that, at least sit in and be in on those sessions, right? Or have the editor narrow down to 3 takes and you choose one of the 3 takes. So then you are dictating how the film comes out. Because at the end of the day, nobody's going to be like, oh, that was bad editing. Well, industry people might. Most people are going to blame the director. They're going to blame you. They were like, that was you. You made a bad film. That part. If Denzel's in the film or something, they'll be like, Denzel made a bad film. But it's usually going to come down to you. Like, oh, Steven's film was not hot this time. That part. So that's a huge portion. Like I said, guiding that ship. CGI, making sure things look realistic. Even though you're not the one who's sitting there doing the computing. It's like, you're still doing that. If we're in animation, you're for sure on board. Because a lot of them shots don't really happen until, after the fact. And you're adding it and putting it together. Then you're on board there. So there's just like all these different processes. The majority of it is you making sure it hits the finish line. Even in editing. Make the day. The director's vision. This is what I said, the importance of a shot list and just having this concept of how the film is actually going to turn out. When you go through all these different edits, a lot of times you shoot more and you cut down. If you're on the indie budget, you shoot what you got. You for sure shoot what you got. And so, you shoot what you got. Sometimes you barely got enough. I digress. All right, it's about taking the script, going from the script to the screen. That is your job. Quarterback. How do we win the game? Script to the screen. And so that's from pre-production to post-production to production on set. All of that is you. You're quarterbacking this whole thing. And for a lot of people, that's too much pressure. Everybody don't want to be LeBron. You know what I'm saying? Everybody don't want to be LeBron. Some people just want to be the role player, the 3-and-D person. I love basketball. The 3-and-D person coming off the bench and boop. Or the 6th man of the year. That doesn't make it any less dope. I'm just here to tell you what a director actually does. And if you're an actor and you're watching this, you're trying to understand, like, these are all the things that are going on beyond just your performance, right? So you might be thinking about this line needs to be said this way. And the director's actually thinking about the whole scope of the film with this particular line or this particular scene. Knowing what happened before the scene, what happened after. Where is this at in the storyline and the arc of the character and all that. That is the director's job to know. Yes, you should know that as an actor for your character. But the director's job is to keep track of all of these characters. Which is a lot for some people. I guess I'm a crazy person because I enjoy it. So there we have it. I hope you walked away from this video knowing what a director does on set, off set, before the set, after the set, in between the set. No, I'm just kidding. And if you have any other specific questions just about the industry or even if it's about directors or actors, please ask it in the comments below so I can make a video answering your question. I truly appreciate it. I'm here to help you guys. I have a bunch of free resources here to help you guys on your journey in the industry. Please just go over to the site, grab our ebooks, take our boot camp classes. I really want to see you win. Hit the like button, sub button, bell button. Let you gotta go.